heavy hitters. Yes, y'all, it's a Monday Sirius XM, of course, Shade 45, the heavy hitters take out. We have another guest in the room, Brother Ali joins us now.
Brother Ali, a lot going on today.
Peace. Hello.
Welcome to the show. And I
Appreciate
do
you.
appreciate the jacket, and I you know what I'm saying? I appreciate our vibe.
Why?
Thank you.
I don't always wear a hoodie. So I appreciate the vibes.
Thank you.
If you don't know what I'm talking, we're gonna put a picture on the Instagram now. The guy came in here sharp.
Trying to be somebody in this world.
Now, when you walk in a place like that, the hello is different.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you come in there with what's up, son, you come in there like this, how you doing, sir?
The vibes are very different. Everyone like straightens up and is like, hi. How are you?
So
That's what we're going for.
I should have added the legendary Brother Ali's hanging out. Plus 15 in the game. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, I'm new to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's
like
all right.
I know the whole catalog and all that, but
That's all right.
I'm super late. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, it's like your movement is super major. And go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we are from the Midwest.
Yes.
Our crew and record label is called Rhymesayers Entertainment. And we emerged around the same time as Tech Nine.
Okay.
And it's a very similar trajectory to Tech Nine. Mm-hmm. So I think that's, he's somebody that people are aware of. But, really in the Midwest, there was this bubble of movement, of music that people were making that was not asking permission from the music industry, and quite frankly wasn't asking permission from anybody, but just started making music that made sense to us, and were able to find and connect with people that could relate to it. Mm-hmm. And we really built our movement by going on tour. This is before, so many of the artists started going on tour.
Sure.
So we would go places where they would never have a hip hop show.
Oh, man.
And so whether or
How's
not,
that?
we had to really train a lot of clubs how to receive a hip hop artist. We had to train a lot of audiences how to interact with a hip hop show. Mm-hmm. But there was, you can always, when you're finding new space and new ground, and you can be creative. There's a lot that can be built in the places where people aren't used to it, or in the places that people would never check for.
That is so
There's always
dope.
something to do. There's always something to do. There's always something new to open up.
And what I like about you, you're super social conscious. You know what the hell's going on in the world. You're not just locked up in a box and we're making music. And people like me, I appreciate that. I appreciate somebody who wakes up and watches the news and talks about the stuff going around in their neighborhood or where they grew up at. And do you feel that's being lost now in the rap game? Like the art of telling story, you know what I mean? Like make you feel something.
It goes in and out, but I was literally mentored and am mentored. The people that brought me in the game are Chuck D and Rakim.
Oh man. Wow.
And Brand Nubian and Big Daddy Kane. Wow. These are the people that when I first came in brought me on tour and basically co-signed me.
You cheated, man. That's cheating. That's like being in grammar school with college professors, bro.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not sure what exactly it was, other than the fact that I really honor them.
Yeah.
And so they, kind of ushered me in. And when I was a kid, actually, when I was 13, I met KRS-One, and he brought me on stage.
This guy want to live your life.
Right.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
So I
How
went
did all
and saw
this
him at a
happen?
lecture tour. So if you listen to his edutainment album, there's these lectures, little snippets throughout it. So he say, "All you white people that think you're down with America can forget it." You know what I mean? Like this, you hear him speaking. I was at one of those, and I was 13. And you can't see me at home yet until you see the picture, but I'm albino. And so I walked up to the mic during the question and answer session, and I had a book that he made, the Stop the Violence book.
Yes.
And I was like, I read this book, I memorized every word you ever said, and I just was enthralled by his, speaking and everything. I said, when you're done with all of this, I know you're busy, you have to answer questions, can you sign this? He said, forget all that, come on stage. And so I have a picture on my phone of me, at 13 years old.
That's a moment.
Standing there talking to KRS-One. And he signed my book and he said, Unite Humanity, and he told me to read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Wow.
And so, that
you
changed
walked
my
out
life.
of there with more than you had even expected.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right.
Amazing.
I have like a huge smile across my face. I'm like, can you just speak some more?
It's warm vibes in here if you don't understand what's happening in this room tonight. And what I like about you too is, which is something that's been happening lately in the music business, this whole movement of independence and independent. But you've been doing it for a minute independently.
Yeah, well, the group that really, another group that took me under their wing more so as peers was Atmosphere.
Okay.
And Atmosphere really learned a lot. We're from Minneapolis, and so we learned a lot from, similar to how Prince and Morris Day, but there were also indie rock bands from Minneapolis that, similar to us, they may never ever want to Grammy, but they had very successful careers and were able to literally do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of freedom in being independent. There's also a lot of freedom in not being famous to anybody that doesn't know your music and love you. So literally, if anybody recognizes me, it's because they know our music.
Yeah.
And so literally, we're living an extremely free life. And we can make the music that we want to make and release it exactly how we want to. I didn't put anything out for 5 years.
Yeah.
And have literally just been traveling around the world, sitting with these like Muslim elders and studying with them and learning from them. And yeah, and bringing my wife and kids with me when I feel like it.
Dope.
You know, so Atmosphere really learned a lot from indie rock because these are people that were, you know, touring and creating their own lives and having their own careers. And so we adopted a lot of those practices.
No, and you're teaching people you don't need the big machine behind you to have longevity. You don't need the big machine record label to actually, like you said, be successful and travel. Because that's what a lot of people don't do. Like, you put out a record, but you don't get to travel.
Right.
You don't get to touch those masses out there.
Right. And I mean, you have to look at it like a business. You're opening a small business. And a lot of people, you know, would like to open a franchise, which is what getting a record deal is. So if you open a Wingstop or something like that, it's a franchise. And so basically you buy into what they're doing.
Sure.
You know, but there are a lot of people that open the mom and pop shop. And it might be the favorite one in that neighborhood, though. So there are places that you've never heard of. But these people are living their lives, and they're actually, you know, it's very, very rare to be free in this modern time.
Sure.
The way that this country is set up is very, very rare. And so, you know, to be able to come in to do what you love,
yeah, man,
and to have some freedom with it.
Don't mind me. I'm just vibing, man. You can just keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, traveling is a really important part of that, and you know, it's really important to learn and to be with mentors too.
Sure.
To have mentors and people that can teach you how to do it. So one of the people that we came into the industry with was a booking agent. He was actually an assistant booking agent to a guy named Peter Schwartz, who was a major hip hop booking agent. His assistant was a guy named Zach Quillen, who basically knew about this underground movement that was happening, and I was one of his first artists. He went on to book people like Wiz Khalifa, and to work with you know, Mac Miller and a lot of the people that came up, and he became Macklemore's manager. Right. And so a lot of the things that we learned together by doing it have been applied to the music industry. So when we're with other people in the music industry, they're well aware of what, you know, we've contributed and the things that we've learned and been able to share.
These guys are not new to this. These guys know what's going on.
Yeah.
And no, but I like what you said is like, no matter what you're doing, you're learning. Are you paying that forward? I mean, I don't even probably have to ask you, like, are you mentoring also? Like,
absolutely. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So we have, you know, on our label, there's always, you know, people that are coming up, and what we do is, the apprenticeship is basically going on tour. Sure. So you come on the tour and you open, and you might not get paid a whole lot of money.
So it's a thing. It's
yes,
like,
sir.
You're coming into this step one.
Absolutely.
Oh
absolutely. Man. It really is it's an apprenticeship.
Dope.
And that's something that, you know, all people had that before the modern world. Everybody learned by sitting with an elder, sitting with a master, and you learn the way that they do it, and then eventually you start to come into your own, and you start to craft it and shape it a little bit to fit your own needs. But so I was brought in by Atmosphere first, and then immediately after that, Brand Nubian took me on tour. Immediately after that, Rakim took me on tour, and then immediately after, you know, so on and on like this. So I was able to take from these different people and learn. So you know, when my new album comes out in May, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Oh, nice.
When it comes out, you know, I'm gonna bring a young sister by the name of Sa Rock.
Okay.
Her name is Asada, and she goes by Sa Rock. Yeah. Nice. And she's from Atlanta, man. Amazing. She was just up here recording with Black Thought. This is so like dope. Black Thought's favorite, you know, new young artist. So she's gonna come. She's, you know, on our label.
So now she's on the like the whole
on the Rhymesayers label and coming on the tour. And yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. Because you walk away with more than I went on tour. You walk away with it. You walk away enlightened. You walk away educated. You walk away with knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's so dope. I'm totally enlightened.
And that's, I mean, when people say that this is a culture, like that's not just something that we're saying. We don't just say the word culture when we really mean industry. It really is a culture in the sense that, you know, all traditional cultures, you would learn from a person who learned from a person who learned from the master. You know, so you can't relate. You can't say that the Prophet Muhammad said something unless you know who reported that he said that. Peace be upon him. You can't say, you can't make a report about somebody unless you can corroborate it.
No, sure.
And in hip hop, so my elders are Chuck D and Rakim, and they learned directly from Kool Herc and Africa Bambaataa, and so you have an actual chain. So when you step out on stage to talk, you're bringing the entire experience of the ancestors and the people that come before
You're
you.
representing them, so you better do right by them.
That's right. Yeah.
100%.
So it's a responsibility, it's a confidence thing, and then also it's just by nature you would bring younger people in and have them, be able to teach them and also be able to benefit from the energy and the creativity that they bring to the table.
So dope.
Because trying to keep up with Sa Rock, like Sa Rock is a monster. You understand? Like she's very, she talks about like God Hop, the goddess MC, but she's incredible. So trying to keep up with her will keep you young.
Are you already working with her, or this is like the first time you guys are riding out together?
She's on my album.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, she's on the album. All the Beauty in This Whole
right?
Life is what's going to come out on May 5th.
Wait, do we have music?
Can we play one
Can
of the
we play
joints?
some music?
I would love for you to do
What
it.
do we have?
Own Life?
Which one? How many you got over there? He'll pick it, whatever he wants to play.
Own Light would be a good one.
Own
Yeah, I
Light is
love
good?
this song.
Well, there it is, y'all. The number is 1-888-Shade45. Brother Ali is here, and I'm having a great time today. I've never been this calm, by the way, on this show. So thank you, Brother Ali. I appreciate you. On the Monday, the heavy hitter, Sirius XM, of course. Brother Ali is joining us today, and I am very happy he's here. It's only been for like 2 seconds, and I appreciate it so far. It's good vibes. So the new album, All the Beauty, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that comes out. You said Cinco de Mayo?
That's right, May 5th.
Look at it's an obligatory celebration.
That's right.
That was the SAT word, by the way.
Good word.
Go ahead, guys.
Good word.
Nobody go.
So we want to play a quick game.
Oh,
for
you do? Go for it.
Oh, we do.
Yes.
This is their thing, brother. Okay.
All right, so we're going to play a quick trivia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. It's kind of like...
They
wanna
stole
be a
the whole
millionaire?
idea from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
But we kind of made it hip hop.
Hip
They
hop.
customized it. Go for it. Number
All
one.
right, number 1. Today, Run DMC, March 27th, 1984, released their debut album. A. Raising Hell. B. Run DMC. C. Crown Royal. D. Tougher Than Leather.
Run DMC.
All right, you got
Self-titled.
that one right.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Man, please.
All right, Giovanni.
I got my money on him today.
Where are these lyrics from? For all those who want to profile and pose, rock you in your face, stab your brain with your nose bone.
Are these really? Is this really trivia?
That's trivia.
That's
Hey,
Shook One's part 2. It's
You know
my
what I mean?
beat.
You're
Shook One's
alone
part
in
2.
the
Yeah.
street, cousin.
Yeah.
Hey, lower the room real quick.
To all the killers and the $1 million billers.
Right? Go.
This A&R signed Nas to Columbia in the fall of 1991. A. Faith Newman. B. MC Search. C. Kevin Liles.
It was a partnership between Faith Newman and Search.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Of course he
Of
is.
course he knows everything.
Yeah.
All right.
I know who I paid. God Searchlight Publishing.
It is.
All right, here's one that might trip you
You
up.
guys thought y'all was going to get brother.
I know.
I thought it was going to get him.
Ask me about alcohol and pork, and then you'll get me. Which is the best that goes with Crown Royal? I don't know.
What university do Redman and Method Man attend in the film How High?
Oh, there you go. Okay, all right. Now you're in space that I don't.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Ask me some weed stuff.
Dartmouth College, University of Pennsylvania, Princeton University, Harvard University, Brown University, or Yale?
I'm just gonna guess and say Yale.
So close. No. Harvard.
All right.
Yay, we beat him for one.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. I didn't see that movie.
Last one. Who was not on XSL's Freshman 10 of 2011?
Who was not on that?
Yes,
was
who
not.
is not?
From 2011. Okay.
A.
okay.
Kendrick Lamar. B. Meek Mill. C. Big Sean. D. Mac Miller.
For 2011?
Yeah.
For 2011.
Who was
Wasn't
not
on the list.
was not on part of the list.
That's difficult because a lot of times the people on that list are not new. Like it's like people that we've known about.
Do you want to pick a 50-50 or do you want to ask someone in the room to help you?
Do you want a lifeline?
You can pick one of your friends to be the person you go to for the answer.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna ask Jessica to help me.
Okay.
So which one was not on the list for 2011?
A. Kendrick Lamar. B.
Okay, so Kendrick, hold on. Let me just try to figure it out. So Kendrick Lamar, 2011, was that was high power time? Right? No. Yeah.
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 Sir, you
'cause-
have 10 seconds.
No, because Good Kid, Mad City came out in 12.
Yes.
So
You're
he
right,
may
you're
have
right.
been on that list,
You're
even
right.
though he was on his second record. Okay, I'm sorry. Next one, please.
B. Meek Mill. C. Big Sean. D. Mac Miller.
Who was not on that list?
Big Sean had already been. Who was not?
What did you say?
What's your pick, Jessica?
Are you gonna go with Jessica?
Are you gonna
Are you
go
trust?
Or are you gonna go with?
Because I was on Rock the Bells with Big Sean in 2010. Like he was already
Five,
moving around. So
4.
let's go Big Sean. Big Sean.
Is that your
Big
final
Sean?
answer, sir?
Final answer.
What is the correct answer?
Jessica for the win.
I'm taking Brother Ali with me.
Squad.
Hey, good call over there.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
job. Good job. Good
Yes,
job.
man.
And you had another question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So before we finished up, I want to talk more about your activism. I know you're very active in the community and a lot of social conscious things that you're doing. Can you talk more about that, especially in these times with the feelings that are against Muslims and things like that?
Yeah. That's a good beat to put on for that. Yeah. No, I mean, I was raised like that, and I came up like that. I came up with people that were, particularly the Black Power movement, but that whole like intersection of different people. And one of the things that's beautiful about what's happening now is that there are allies that never recognized they were allies before, but now that they have this devil that's outwardly running the country, people are finding allies in places that they never had them. Like, man, I just saw a protest where this family, this like white family in Texas, in like rural Texas, went to their local mosque and they made these big signs that said, "We love Muslims, you're welcome here, this is your country." You know what I mean? So like these Muslims like show up at the mosque and there's like, these guys look like you would think that they would have had the red hat on at some point. You know what I mean? And it's a whole family of them, and they got kids out there, and they were like passing out candy to the Muslim kids, and like, so there's a lot of beautiful stuff happening. I would say probably the coolest thing, organizing wise, that I've been a part of, was that during the time of Occupy Wall Street, there was like a bunch of people from the dominant culture that were always taught that if they did everything they were supposed to do, then America would just give them a job and they'd have a house and they'd be able to be middle class. This is like middle class dominant culture people. They started realizing like that's not true. So they did Occupy Wall Street and basically just went out and just camped somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't know what to do about it. So somebody in the Twin Cities had the idea that there's, people of color are losing their houses. Like banks basically are stealing the wealth from communities of color, from families that are trying to get ahead and families that are trying to invest and do the right thing with their money. So you have like a family that buys a home, a lot of times homes are bought because people have generational wealth and they have generational knowledge about how to buy a house. If your parents own their home, the chances of you buying your home and owning your home are like triple. So, and in communities of color, particularly the Black community, they weren't allowed to buy houses.
Right.
And so that generational stuff isn't quite the same. So when a family would go and say like, okay, I hear on TV, save your money, get a job, do the right thing, cut up your credit cards, get your credit up, save for a down payment, buy a house. So they go and do that, and then the banks will swindle them with all this, like, your interest rate is going to change 5 years in, and so your payment will triple, and now you can't afford it anymore.
It's a setup.
Yeah, so we got your down payment, we've been taking payments from you for 5 years, and now we're going to take your house away from you, kick you out, sell it to somebody else who's going to give us a down payment, years of payments after that, you know what I'm saying?
Same cycle.
So they're just robbing communities, right? So we had this idea to take the kids who were like just chaining themselves to stuff to these houses and called it Occupy Homes. And they chained themselves to these houses, and when the police tried to come and evict the family, they can't do it. And so people were getting arrested and going to jail and all that stuff. So I had the idea, okay, in Minneapolis and St. Paul, our movement is really well known. It's like everybody knows about what we're doing. We have the biggest hip hop festival every year in the U.S., all hip hop festival, 30,000 people.
Dope.
It's called Soundset. It's Memorial Day weekend every year. This year, like Travis Scott is headlining it, and we hope that Kevin Gates can come if he can. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my brother. I hope Kevin can come.
We love Kevin up here.
Yeah, man. So basically, I said, well, okay, what if I bought a little sound system, and I said I'm gonna start doing 3 free concerts at these homes. So the fans come out to the concert, and then you let the homeowner speak. And then you let like young white kids that look like them speak about the fact that they're willing to go to jail and get arrested for these families because they realize that like we are all being swindled together. So then I'm performing and somebody goes out with a clipboard and people write down their name, their email address and stuff like that. And then I personally would call them to come out to like demonstrations.
Oh, wow.
And so, that was one of the times that we were able to see like people really go from just a passive fan of hip hop music that like deep down in people's subconscious, they know that this is black genius. This is black and brown people's genius. Black, Puerto Rican, Dominican people, this is their like generational genius. And that's why people listen. That's why people from the dominant culture, they've been swindled as well. And they've lost their legacy and lineage as well. Most European American people, their history might not have been stolen so violently, so it's not like you were whipped, and it's not like your babies were stolen out of your house. But if you wanted to get ahead in America, you had to forget Polish, and you had to forget German or whatever language you spoke.
To wash yourself up.
Right. And so, people forget who they are, and so all they know is I'm white. But what does white mean?
Thank you.
You give up this whole lineage and legacy. So like, they have these jokes like white people can't dance and white people don't know how to, make love or whatever. But that wasn't the case. You see that like, Irish people had dope soulful music and they had dances and they had cultures and they respected their elders and they knew about their ancestors and they had language and their lives had meaning. So they gave all that up to come to America and just be white. But what's white? What is that really? Because there's people walking around in Thailand that think they're white. They're just the lightest people there.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they come to America, they're not white anymore. So what is
100%.
whiteness?
It's a rude awakening.
It just means you're at the top of the food chain in a white supremacist culture. And so as soon as white people don't want to be that anymore, when they're like, I reject white supremacy. But you're just still left in this thing that doesn't have any real root. It's not rooted in anything.
No, you lost your culture.
You lost your culture. So these people, like, they love hip hop music and they love, black culture and they love these like cultural things. You see them like putting on Native American stuff and you see them putting on, Puerto Rican stuff, and like they want to be a part of a cultural experience.
Yeah.
And so that's why they come to hip hop. They just don't outwardly know that. And so if you give them an opportunity to like really buy in to being a human being again, people do really dope things. It's not gonna be everybody.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a whole lot of people that I get people that come to my shows because they're like, oh, that guy looks like me.
Yeah.
So he must feel like me. He must believe the same things I believe. And then after they're around for a while, they start hearing things like that just make them uncomfortable. And then, you know what I'm saying? They move around.
I was going to ask you that. Do you ever, with the whole racism thing going on, you're obviously you look like a complete white man.
Yeah, well, my mother's adopted, so we don't know what she is. But my father is a white man. But I was basically taught how to be a human being.
Culturally. Yeah.
So basically, I'm albino. So like, I walk into a school, and the second I walk in, I'm not acceptable to people because of the way that I look. And there's no amount of hair dye and all that kind of stuff that can change that. And so the people that taught me how to become acceptable to myself were black elders, especially women, but also men and also peers and also everybody. So the way that I learned how to navigate the world is through blackness, but that's the way everybody's learning how to navigate the world. Everybody, once you start figuring out like, oh, this country is not just gonna, like, I thought that I belonged here. You know what I'm saying? So, Muslims are starting to realize like, just because I'm a doctor doesn't mean that I'm white. It doesn't mean that I'm really part of it. And even white people are like, I don't have money. You know what I'm saying? So like the people that voted for Trump are showing up at town hall meetings like, I'm gonna die. Like, you're gonna take away my healthcare and I'm fixing to die around here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And their politicians are just looking at them like, I don't know what to tell you, homie. You know
I gotta ride with him because.
Right. And so more and more, like, really everybody is learning like, how do I not be welcome here? Like, how do I start realizing I'm not part of the upper echelon 1%? You know what I'm saying? Or as the 5% or say the 10%, whatever, I'm not part of the upper crust of this thing. I'm not an owner. The person that works as a prison guard is still in prison all day. They just get to wear a different uniform and they get to, you know what I'm saying? The guy
Dropping gems.
I love
the person, the slave driver, he's experiencing slavery in a much different way because he sits on the horse, he's holding the whip, but he still is like drinking the slave experience into himself all day long. The police are like, they're killing people, but they're also experiencing what it's like to kill a human being. You know what I'm saying? And all of this is being orchestrated by the people at the top. So like, how do you learn how to resist that? Who better to learn that from than the children of enslaved Africans, than, people that came here from, the Philippines or from Puerto Rico, or like the people that it's very obvious that like are under no delusion that they're part of, that they're like part of the owners. You know what I'm saying? They know they're not owners. So these people have been living and resisting and, you know, even in a lot of ways flourishing, especially culturally, and especially like in terms of what it means to be a human being. So that's where we go. So we know where to go. It's like something inside us knows that not only that these are the original people, that we all evolved from them. Like we just adapted by going to Europe, and so it's cold, and so, you know, the melanin starts coming out of your skin so you can absorb more sunlight and things like that. You know, so that's mom and dad in terms of being a human being. And so, but something inside knows that. So when you hear Nina Simone or you hear whoever, you know, Harry Belafonte or Jay-Z or Big Sean or Nicki or whoever, you know that like, I used to know this. Like, I used to know what this meant. And so that's what brings the people to the music. So there's a lot that can be done there. There's a lot that can be done there. And this is the last train home. This is the last opportunity for this society.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just out of curiosity.
You have to, otherwise I'll just
You
keep
should write a book. Have you ever thought about that?
I agree.
Yeah, I've thought about it.
I mean, no,
part of
really
being
should.
albino is I'm legally blind, so I could barely see you right now.
It's
especially with
okay.
this light on
It
me.
can be done.
But yeah, there is a guy who actually, there's a really beautiful brother named Andreas who he used to write for Hip Hop DX, and now he writes for Billboard. And so he just wrote we just had a cool interview that he posted today on Billboard.com. And I was reading it. Actually, I put it on the computer and like the computer reads it to me. And I was sitting there like, this guy really, like he might be the one to be able to help me do that.
You should.
Well, let's get on it, sir, because we need this book out.
And in the book, tell them that I gave you the idea too.
We need this
Shut me
book
up.
out. And to touch on what you said, it is true. Hip hop, I love hip hop because hip hop taught me English. By the way, I didn't know no English when I came to this country, and I
Where'd
learned
you come from?
Dominican Republic.
Yes,
then
sir.
ended up in Venezuela, and then we ended up here.
Okay.
But I knew zero English.
Okay.
And I believe hip hop is the only, and I'm sorry, I might get offended, genre of music that is built on culture, is built on education, is built on each one teach one, is
Community.
built on community, is built on, you know, and like, I just love when someone from the outside decides to come in.
Yeah, you know, hip hop just lost one of its greatest ambassadors. He wasn't a famous person, unless you ask artists. But there was this man named Jonathan Moore in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And if if you ask Mos Def about him, ask Kweli about him, ask J. Cole about him, he's one of those people that really felt that way. And he's one of Macklemore's mentors. And so he basically had this understanding and reality that like this is, people of color, people of culture, ancestral lineage that we're passing on. And so when people would come along, he would embrace them and he would teach them and he would train them and he would, help them figure out how to carry this thing and how to really embody it properly. And Chuck does the same thing. I think that's part of why Chuck D embraced us so early and started mentoring us.
And
so
then we
early.
can see whoever you had before you definitely trickled down to you, and you're just riding with it. And I'm so sorry.
I know.
we
We're running out of time, and I'm
Can
so
we do this
upset.
again? Hello? Can we do this again? He needs to be here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't care. We don't play no music that day. He can
I
just
be
sit
here
here.
too? This
Oh,
is
you're
like-
more than
I
welcome.
can rap though too. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we need all that. We're like, oh man, it's over. No, we gotta do this again. Like,
I would
I'm
love to do
serious.
that. I would love
I'm
to do
here for this. I'm and we gotta play more music. 'Cause
Yes.
He bought another
You have
record
another
before
joint?
he gets out of here, right? You got another song, right? Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we're horribly off time, man. Before you get out of here, how can people find you socially, internet, etc.? What was the handle?
On Facebook and Twitter, it's Brother Ali, and on Instagram, I wanted people to not judge me for my pictures being fuzzy, so it's Brother Ali is blind
Got it.
on Instagram.
I found it today, by the way.
Yes, sir.
And I had questions, and you just answered it. But I gotta say personally,
The audio
Sometimes
doesn't
you
match
have
the
no
video.
chill.
No, that's real. Like some,
What?
I said one time,
We're bros now. We're good.
people always asking what's happening with your captain. He looked like Gene Hackman and talked like Mars Blackman.
Well, I gotta say, man, it's been a pleasure. We're definitely doing this again. And Brother Ali, I want to
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you
I
guys
wanna
for
thank you
welcoming
for
me
the
here.
knowledge,
Appreciate
bro.
it. Thank you, thank you,
And
thank
for
you.
the music. And before we get up out of here, what is the record we're gonna play now? What's the name of it?
I think it's Pen to Paper, and it's the intro for my album.
There it is. And the album is All the Beauty, and it's out. You cannot miss the day, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
It's a great reason to celebrate.
Heavy hitters.